Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to Coleman On Purpose, episode 50. I'm David J. Coleman, and I am so excited that you're here for today's episode of Coleman On Purpose. Today, I have a very special guest with me today. He is an entrepreneur, artist, designer, man of God, Jesus lover. His name is Micah Patton. Micah, thank you so much for being here on Coleman On Purpose.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me. Blessed to be here.
Great, great, great. Now, me and Micah go back a ways, like baby, like child, like since birth. Like basically grew up in the same church from in St. Louis where I was born. Are there still people that are there in St. Louis that you have out there that you go back and
Oh
visit and
yeah,
stuff?
yeah. Everybody's still besides my dad. He's actually in Arizona now, but yeah, everybody else
Okay.
still in St. Louis.
I did not know until I moved to here to Charlotte. I've been here about 15 years now, but I didn't even know that we were both in Charlotte till like I
Yeah,
think about like 5 years ago. I did not know.
yeah.
So when did you come down here like to the Charlotte area?
Actually, 2015, I moved to Charlotte. So yeah, 10 years ago. Coming from Raleigh, I was in the Raleigh area before then, and then before then, well, I was home for a while in actually Columbia, Missouri. But before then, I
Okay.
went to A&T. So I was in Greensboro since
Wow.
1999.
Okay, cool. So before we get started, I like to do a little icebreaker and everything like that before we start getting into the meat of everything like that. So, what did you want to be as a kid and why?
Ha, good question. Wanted to be a emergency room doctor, actually, growing up.
Wow.
Yeah,
Why did you
so
want
totally
why do you
not
think you
doing
wanted to do that?
that.
Wow. That's so you just over time it just that kind of just went away and
Yeah, Sesame Street is actually what kind of had me want to do it. I never get they had an
that's
episode with doctors and they'll talk about doctors and what they did. And I remember it was a video they had where this little girl wanted to be a doctor to basically heal people. And it was just like,
wow.
I want to do that. I want to make people feel better. I want to heal them and so on and so forth. But
That I keep telling people about that because childhood stuff, like I'm saying, it makes a difference, and that ain't getting rid of PBS. You know what
that
I'm saying?
man,
Our childhood. That's like it's crazy, but that is what like molds us and makes us like stuff that we remember. That's what makes us want to do what we want to do. So, what
correct. But yeah,
inspired you? What inspired you to start your line of clothing and accessories? Because Micah, as you can see, I'm wearing one of his original works right here, which I actually love it very, very much, and
thank
it's
you.
like
Thank
like
you.
my heart. Like it's that's what I have on my wall up here. You can't see it, but like it's I have believe up here, so that's one of the
Oh
that's
wow.
what why it stuck out to me.
Wow.
So, what inspired you to start a clothing line in general?
That's a great question. I would say the foundation was probably started with my mom. She used to sew usually on Saturday nights before church in the morning. And she used to make well, she used to I used to watch her make my sister dresses.
Okay.
And she'd be down there watching Murder She Wrote, making dresses in the
Oh my
basement.
God.
I'll be down there playing with
Yeah.
my cars and toys right next to her, and I'll stop and look every once in a while, and then to see what she made, and like see it from when it
Yeah.
was just a sketch or just a pattern, and full bloom on my sister. It was like, oh wow, my mom creates things, so it
Yeah.
just funny, just stuck with me. And then I want to say around, what was I think I was 13 or 14.
Okay.
And you probably remember this. St. Louis used to have like your what was it? It was a Six Flags Day where they had like Gospel Day
Yes,
at
I
Six
remember that.
Flags.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So all the
Yes.
churches, every church kid used to go there. Everybody from St. Louis probably remembers this. They grew up in
Yes.
church. And I
Oh,
remember
that's good.
I had a T-shirt, and I think it was stitch. I think the fabric was the fabric of the T-shirt was cotton, but it's a fabric
Okay.
called I was going to say Stitch Wickery or something like that. But it's like an iron-on material that goes on your shirt.
Yes, yes,
And I
I know it
remember,
has the little feeling.
yeah,
Yes, I know.
I remember I made a dollar cut out. I used that fabric. My mom had the fabric. I cut out a dollar sign and took a permanent marker and made it black. Put it on my
Oh my
T-shirt.
goodness.
Yep, and I was like the man for that day. Now, mind you, after
Wow.
one wash, that sucker peeled off. Was horrible at
Right.
the end of that.
Because it was not
Horrible.
good back in the day. I remember,
Yeah, not
yeah.
yeah. But for that day at Six Flags, I was like, oh, I made this T-shirt. You made that T-shirt? Oh, that's so dope. Da, 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 da.
That's
Yeah.
dope.
So yeah.
That's
So
dope,
that was kind
man.
of like the
That's really
foundation of it.
cool. Yeah, that's really, really cool. I think it's really interesting. How old were you when you started working on like, I mean, when you actually started working on this line, what you're doing right now, how old were you and
Ooh,
how many years have you been
um,
building that?
I can't even tell you how old. Probably mid. When did I start? I would say probably college is when I really, um,
Okay.
yeah. I remember senior year in college at A&T. A lot of my Aggies can know this. I remember making airbrush. I
Okay.
talked to my dad. Dad was the first investor. I'll never forget it. My
That's
senior
awesome.
year, pitched to him. I know, right? Straight
That's
pitched to him
awesome.
like, "Hey, Dad, I want to make T-shirts." He already knew I wanted to do a clothing line because I've been talking about wanting to make clothes far back. But it was like
Yeah.
finally I got a friend of mine, my friend Derek, he was working at Michael's and he had a discount at Michael's Arts and Crafts to get
Okay.
all the airbrush paints, the airbrush guns, and all that stuff for like way
Yeah.
cheaper using his discount than how much I would have paid.
You got the
Begged my
discount.
dad, like,
Yeah.
"Dad, all I need is $400, just $400 so I can get all this
Right.
equipment and this will help start the
Yeah.
business." I never get my dad
Okay.
asked me, he was like, "You sure this is what you want to do?" I said, "Yes." He's
Hmm.
like, "All right, I'll shoot the money to your account." As soon as he did that, ran over there, got the stuff, started airbrushing it in my apartment.
Wow, because I can remember because I've followed you for a while. Like we were always following each other, like on
Oh yeah,
Facebook and
yeah,
stuff like that. But I remember telling my dad because my dad did artwork, so
yeah.
he's like, I'm interested to see what Mike is doing because he's
Oh
doing
yeah,
like
yeah.
art and stuff like that. That's just amazing to me. And your dad being the first investor, like to invest in
Yep.
your vision, did he just automatically know? He was just like, look, just go
Well,
ahead, or did it take a little
yeah,
bit of?
yeah. We've been, like I said, I remember bringing it up probably when I was in middle school
Oh
about
wow,
I want to
okay,
make clothes, but
see,
nobody knew. The internet wasn't
yeah,
really that what it is now, so it wasn't a
yeah,
lot of information about it. So I didn't know. I just knew, oh, I want to go to college and then I'll get my degree, which is another story. I got my degree was originally started with business management, but ended up being graphic design
okay,
and visual arts. But yeah, let me get a
wow.
degree in that so I can build up that skill to learn how to run a business, and then I can do my business and make clothes and all that whole thing. But yeah, Dad was
Wow.
the first investor that was like, "All right, I'll give you some money for it," and haven't stopped since.
And you were able, that's awesome. So has it been difficult along the way, like within the industry, has it been difficult to stay like independent, like working on your own and do stuff like that? What are some of the challenges that you face when working like this, when you have this business here and you're trying to do it on your own? And do you have like, are there backers that you have now, or is it just you still working on your own?
Yeah, still me just working on my own. One man army, I do it all from the designing to the packaging, shipping, supplying,
Man,
the picking materials, all me. It is not easy. I will say this to any and everybody. It is hard work.
right.
You must have passion for it. Like you must have a
There
passion
it
for it
is.
because
Yeah.
it's going to be storms that's going to come. Um, I mean, from getting no sales to vending, I can say how many times I've vended places and spent hundreds of dollars, didn't make a dollar on
Mhm.
anything. So really, we really appreciate the small businesses. Definitely really appreciate. We get one sale, it's just like hallelujah, like yes, thank you.
Beautiful. That's beautiful because
So
I was down in Charlotte I went to the Shout Festival down there, and like you see the
mm-hmm.
artists that are down there and that are doing all of their things, and I'm just like they're really like once you like one purchase, you'll see them really excited about just one picture or something going like because
Yeah,
it's really like a lifestyle. You have to really, like you said, be in love with what you do, and like I said, if you don't have the passion for it, it'll eventually like wear away. And I think that comes along
yeah,
with everybody like on their journey, like trying to find what they want
mm-hmm.
to do. I found that in my journey, like I've taken many courses on doing what I want to do,
Yeah.
but it's like you really have to think about that type of stuff. Do you think that did you feel like you were called to create clothes for a long time? Did you feel like that's what you wanted to do since middle school? Was it like a calling, or was it just something for fun? Or did you feel like there was a purpose to it?
I would say that's a good question. I would say both. I can't really say back then I may have known only because it was just I want to make clothes because I didn't have all the flyest gear or the nicest clothes
Right.
back then. So it was like, well, I want to make my own stuff. So now I have my own things to wear. I don't have to worry about I'm not wearing at the moment what Polo or Tommy Hilfiger and all that type of stuff back in the day. Um,
Right. Right.
so I think a lot of it, yeah, I think a lot of it is just the passion, just wanted to do that, and then it kind of led to the purpose of that,
Okay.
which led to the whole Jesus collection, the Name Above collection I produced, which made it now more purposeful and more focused on, okay, now it really has a meaning to it, or really can contribute to something. So
So that came a long time, a long time building
yeah,
and then
yeah. Yeah.
realizing. So have there been any times in your like in this journey, like because I said we walk down this path and we're trying to find what we want to do and we're deciding that we
hmm
want to do this. Have there been you talked about storms and stuff like that. Can you describe any times where it might have been a little bit more difficult and what kind of motivated you to keep going or what were some of your anchors? Like what are some of the things that
Oh yeah.
you depended on during those times?
Plenty of times. I can say one time I had a partner. Funny, the Jesus collection kind of came about that. Friend of mine, we teamed up. She had an idea about creating something for autism awareness. She wanted me to design some shirts. At the time, I had this design where I had this little character called Billy, and she wanted to incorporate that with her idea to make shirts because her son had autism. He was autistic.
Oh,
Did that.
wow.
I presented it actually to at the church. The church I was attending at the time was in Durham, called Bethel Family. I
Okay.
presented it to the church as an idea. I wanted to be able to speak about, like, hey, mind if I present this to the church just so we can raise, awareness of autism and stuff like that.
Right,
And
right.
he was okay with that, but he said, I would do that, but also, is there anything you could present regarding, the gospel, or the kingdom? And I was like, I don't have anything as of yet, but give me a moment. Met with my
Oh,
partner, and
yeah.
we came up with a brand called Imago Dei, which means image of God. And from
Wow.
there, we started making stuff. And now, where it went sour was probably in the beginning stages. We had a website, like everything. We were making clothes, had a couple of sales, and then all
Yeah.
of a sudden, she didn't want to do it anymore. And
Wow. The
yeah, so
passion.
kind of left
Yeah.
me in the dust. Yeah, it left me hanging with a lot
Mm,
of overhead. In fact, what
yeah.
made it crazy, I just bought, like, I think like over 100 patches to go on these hoodies. Bought a bunch of other, merchandise that we could make and produce, and she
Yeah.
quit. And it
Wow.
was like, okay, I get it in some sense, because that was really none of our plan to even go this route with this.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
But I'll never forget, she said, hey, if you ever need help, hit me up. Okay, cool.
Right. Right.
Forgive and forget, moved on. About 3 months later, now mind you, I still have all this material to use.
That's
So I'm
there.
trying
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
put it all together. Yeah, trying to put it all together. Finally came up with this, what's soon to be the Jesus collection you have now. This is the
Hmm.
beginning, like the beginning stages of it. And
Wow.
I remember reaching out to her, asking her, hey, because she networked a lot with a lot of photographers and models. So, like, hey, we used
Okay.
a model a long time ago. I never got his information. Can I get that information from you? I'll never get, she literally, it was like a long pause. She's like, well, I think you need to get your own photographers and models and network on your own. I spend a lot of my time getting all this stuff, building up my business, my brand, blah blah blah. And I remember just like, wow, really? Like, you literally offered the help, but I took it
Wow.
as, you know what? No worries. I'll
Yeah.
figure it out. And
Yeah.
I figured out, ended up getting a photographer recommended from another friend that
Oh, yeah.
did some other stuff for me later on, and
Hmm.
came out pretty okay. But that was the birth of what's soon to be what you have now, is the Jesus stuff. The shirt you're actually
Wow.
wearing. So yeah.
Look at that. Look at that. Wow. So,
Yeah.
and did you have anyone at that time maybe to just lean on, or was it just you on your own after going through that? Were
Me on
you
my
able
own.
to,
Besides,
wow.
telling the parents, the family, like, man, I can't
Right.
believe,
What
kind of
happened?
going off to of anger, like,
But
this
then you
chick
have them,
said, da, 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 da,
you have somebody to vent to, when it
Yeah.
comes down to that.
But yeah, when it came down to it, I remember my dad was just like, this is part of business though.
Yeah.
So you got to
God,
separate personal sometimes from business, and know, like, hey, this could happen anytime. So
that is the only thing sometimes about when you're pursuing something and you have a passion about doing it. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Like acting,
correct.
everything that I've, even tried to do, you're going to run into those headways sometimes. And no matter how much you love to do it, you still have to have discernment. You got to know, what you're
Yeah.
dealing with in any arena. So it's like, you really that's when you really need God. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh
You
yeah.
know,
Oh,
in
oh
those
yeah.
times
A lot of
to
prayer.
direct
A
us.
lot of like, Lord, like you got to fix this,
Yes.
man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So what do you feel like during this time, like even I don't know, just during this whole journey, what do you feel like your greatest accomplishment business wise and life wise?
I would say
Yeah.
business wise, I would say to still be doing it.
Yeah.
I'm very successful based on the support, fans of my work, people that bought stuff, have supported, shared, liked, all that stuff.
Yes.
I'm still doing it because of that. Because your one like is the reason why I'm still doing it.
Wow. Wow.
Personal wise, I would say to be cliche, being a father,
Yes.
and just seeing his
Yes.
accomplishments and considering
Beautiful.
how I'll be honest, how much smarter he is compared to me with a lot of
Wow.
things
Yeah.
that
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
don't understand, like calculus. It is over my head. And I talk to him about calculus, like, and he's talking like it's just basic math. Like, Dad, yeah, calculus is like 1 + 1 = 2. And I'm like, no, no, it's not. No,
Not
it's
that.
not. Yeah.
Right.
And just seeing like all the accolades he gets and stuff, it just really actually pushes me, inspires me. So
That's beautiful to have that to look, to just look at what you produce, just out there doing the thing. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? That's
yeah.
amazing. That's amazing. Are there any people along this journey like that you have looked up to or that have inspired your work during this
Oh yeah.
time or during who are some of your inspirations in this?
Well, the main inspiration, Jesus.
Okay, come on. Come
I'll be totally
on.
honest with you.
Yeah.
As I will say this, I kind of tag on what you said about purpose. I believe part of the purpose of this clothing brand was to get me closer. I can't say, you believe in Jesus and you grew up in church,
Yeah.
and I'll be honest, college I ran away from him, and I look back at it now. I'm seeing little bitty seeds he's planted from people talking to me, stuff that's happened during college. Of I never forgot about you, even though you tried to run from me. But
Mm.
I got something planned for you that I didn't even know it was coming. And that was what we have this Jesus collection. And just as I've gotten close, as I've started making clothing
Mm.
to represent him in the same sense, or represent him, it's gotten me closer to wanting to read the Bible, want to pray
Come
more,
on.
listen, go to church more, wanted to, because then it's funny, now I got the tag of the Jesus guy. I can tell you some
Mhm.
crazy stories. One crazy story. Um, I also make Aggie clothes too, and a lot of people know this
Yeah,
too,
yeah.
for my alma
I
mater.
see those. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a game, I want to say a couple of years ago, between our biggest rival, North Carolina Central versus North Carolina A&T. It was
Okay.
held in Charlotte at the Bank of America Stadium.
Oh
Now, mind
wow.
you, I'm dripped up, decked out, and nothing but Aggie clothes. Like
Okay.
I'm supporting the alma mater, like, Aggie pride all the way.
Right, right.
I get a I get an Uber driver drop me off because they had part of this, the area cut off where you can't drive. Uber
Okay.
driver, I'm supposed to meet some friends in our suite we had. I'm ready. I get out the I get out the car. I'll start walking towards the stadium. All of a sudden, I hear, "Hey, Jesus guy." Now, mind you, I'm not thinking they talking about me. I'm steadily walking. All of a sudden, I hear it again. Jesus guy. So I'm like, is there some guy walking around? Because mind you, there's people selling stuff, doing crazy stuff. I'm
Right.
thinking, there's some guy walking around just like Jesus or something like that. So I'm looking around. I turn around, the guy's like, "Yeah, that is you." So I'm like, "Huh? Do I know you?" He comes to me, "Oh, I know
Okay.
you don't know me, man. I follow you on Instagram, man. My mom follows you
Yeah.
on Instagram. She loves your clothes. I done bought her some stuff from you, blah, 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 blah." And they telling
Wow.
me how much they appreciate the clothing that
That's
just
amazing.
has Jesus on it.
That's
And
amazing.
I'm like, okay, wow. We appreciate the help. He's like, "Yeah, man,
Yeah.
I see you up in there and everything like that. But man, love what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing." Cool.
That's amazing.
As I get closer to the stadium, not once but twice this happens. I hear it again. Now this time I know they're talking to me. "Hey, that's the
Yeah.
Jesus guy." So I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, yeah, that's me." So they come
That's
up talking, "Hey man, my sister bought one of your shirts, man. She loves it. She wears it all the time. She gets stopped everywhere she wears it, blah, blah." "Oh wow, thank you. Hey, I'm just the messenger. I'm just the
yeah.
vessel, man. It's all for that." "Well, we love what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing." So
Yeah.
that's the stuff that keeps me going when I hear these stories. It's
Yeah.
even more stories from people that I have friends that I can't. I'm not saying they don't believe, but they're probably not as strong in their belief, and
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
just bought it supporting, and they'll
Wow.
say, "I get stopped everywhere with it. Like no matter if I have it on, I can be at the grocery store, the gas station. Somebody see the shirt. yo, that's a dope
Yeah.
shirt. Where'd you get it, man? I love that guy.
Yeah.
And da 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 da. Da. And
Yeah.
they'll hand off my information. I had two friends, one from college and one I worked with. Never met.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I'm at home. I get dinged from both of them on my cell phone. Cell phone's going off. They're telling me, one person telling me, "Hey, I saw somebody wearing your Jesus shirt." I get another message from the other person. "I saw somebody wearing your Jesus shirt."
Yeah.
They end up having lunch together. And all they did was
Wow.
see each other. They said, she said,
Yeah.
"I was walking in the mall and I saw a girl wearing your Jesus shirt." I'm like, "Hey." And they're like, "Yeah, hey, hey, hey." They started talking. Yeah, end up having lunch together and everything. And I'm like,
Yeah. See,
that's
and bringing people
divine.
together. Look, your clothes are
Yeah.
bringing people together. That's amazing, though, because like, you just like you were saying, like this whole thing, like where you said you had taken a step back from, in college and different things like that. Yes,
Hmm.
our journeys sometimes do lead us, and you try to resist. And I just talked about this in one of my past episodes, and I was just like, you can try to buck as much as you want, but God has his hand upon he has his hand upon our lives. And so it's like at the
Had me
end of the
by the
day,
collar. Like Lily was like,
yes,
"You ain't going nowhere.
you're not going nowhere. So why try to
Nowhere."
fight it? So now I'm falling into that even with doing this, more now I'm learning like I can't tell a testimony without having God included with it. That doesn't make any sense. That you
Hmm.
can't tell your testimony without having things or talk about purpose without having God in it because he's part of that. So it's like that's the most important part that I've been thinking about. So while you were doing this, you were talking about your Jesus collection. Are there any other accomplishments that you've had along the way during this time that you're very, very proud of during this?
Um, I'll be honest. I would say my major accomplishment is getting, like, being on here, being on podcasts,
Yeah.
being recognized for it. It's been, be honest, just blessings, like upon blessings
Yeah.
upon blessings. I recently I had one where I did a piece for Virgil Abloh. People don't know, a great designer, for was with Louis Vuitton, was part of the Off White. He actually died of cancer, so died way
Oh,
too soon. But
okay.
his message was so giving in the sense of saying like, "Hey, I went to school to be an architect, and I'm now head designer of Louis Vuitton. I'm a
Okay.
black man." And it
Wow.
was very like, wow, like he did it. And looked up to him, and I made a hoodie that
Oh,
bore his, yeah, depiction of him on the back and everything. Did a photo
wow.
shoot, was in St. Louis, did a photo shoot with a great model there at the St. Louis Art Museum. Had
Yes.
a book publishing company reach out to me saying they saw the video and they have a book about Virgil, and they wanted to give me an edition just to read it over and have it before it releases.
Oh
And it was
my
just like,
goodness.
what? Yeah, so it's just
Wow.
blessings. Just
That is
blessings.
that is a blessing. You don't know who's watching, who's seeing, seeing what, and when you're just inspired. That's why I say the inspiration is very important. Even as a creative, it is important to
Correct.
be inspired. Knowing that every inspiration comes from God anyway is still wonderful because I always say this like nothing is new under the sun, but it's the way that you create it. It's the way that you present it. You know what I'm
And it,
saying?
yep.
You can draw inspiration, but you can only do what you can do. Like I said, there's nobody else that's going to be able to do Micah Patton design like Micah Patton. That's just the ingrained type of thing that's in there.
Type of
So
thing. Yep. Yep.
yeah, that's amazing though. What's your favorite scripture? What is your favorite
Ooh,
scripture?
so many of them, but I will say Psalm 34. I'll bless the Lord at all times. God's praise to continue to be in my mouth. My soul shall
That's
make it boast in the Lord. The humble shall be glad. And magnify the Lord with me, and let us exalt God's name together.
Come on now. So when you incorporated like all of these things in here, why do you feel like it's important to make sure that even with your testimony, why do you think it's important to represent Christ in your brand? What do you think the most important thing?
I
Why?
feel like how they say, like the prophet says, I think it's in Jeremiah where he talks about it's like a fire in my bones, where I have to do it. I
Yeah.
have to do it. Um,
Yeah.
what really pushed me a lot more to do it, my bishop at the time at the church in Durham, Bethel,
Mhm.
Bishop George Bloom, a great bishop, great pastor over that church. I remember he had a sermon where he talked about a tenth is not just your money; it's actually your time and your talent. And I remember I was like, man, I have a talent. What am I doing for the kingdom? And that kind of pushed even more of the, you need to be doing something for this. He gave you this talent
Yeah.
for a reason. At
Yeah.
least start off doing something and let him lead you however it's going to go from there.
That's really, really
So,
awesome. Do you think there's any other words that you can tell anyone that's out here that is trying to maybe get into making clothes, or maybe it could be a child that's watching this or something like that, that
mhm.
what do you think in your field is the most important thing that they can do to maintain their focus and know what they want to do and keep focused like you are with this and doing it for so long?
I would say many things. Number one, I would say keep inspiration around you at all times. So you will not
Mhm.
ever have, like they have writer's block. Artists get the same thing of artist block, where
Yeah.
moments where you don't want to do anything, you're not motivated. I would say whatever inspires you, have that all the time around you. Like my
Yeah.
Instagram is full of people either I know personally or inspire me. And some of always both. They inspire me and I know them. So it makes it even bigger that I can easily reach out to them if I need the information
Yeah.
or to even get more inspired. My
Mm.
second thing I would say is stay consistent. Don't give up. My biggest thing is dig yourself a hole so deep that you're into what you're passionate about, that if you stop doing it, you'll look stupid. People will
That's
say
good.
they won't even believe you. I know if I told people if I'm never gonna make another article of clothing in, they're gonna honestly probably think I'm lying at first. They're gonna really say like, "Oh, quit
You're
playing.
joking around, right?
You quit playing. Come on, man. Really?
Right.
You're not gonna stop, man. You send you. You're
Right.
not gonna stop." And even if I even did, they probably would even then probably convict me from doing it. Like, you really gonna
Yeah.
do this? You stuff. Why would you do like? So then it's gonna make you feel, and then
Yeah.
also invest so much money in yourself where when you do look on it, man, I done spent this amount of money,
Gotta
money
keep
on all
going.
this stuff. Yeah, it's really gonna be a waste of time, waste of money and time you can't get
Hmm.
back. So
At all. At all. I know as like just creating things, and over the time that I've been doing, like little videos and just different, like
yeah,
recording in my room back when I was younger, like doing all of
oh
those
yeah,
things, like it's like you want to make sure that comes, that's what shows. But now I'm just learning to be like more authentically myself in many arenas that I go into, because a lot of times, when you're like either acting or doing something like that, you will put on, and like I said, there's no need to do that when everything that God has equipped you with is there already, so you
correct,
don't have to like force it. So I just see that
correct,
naturally, like coming from you, like just this is natural, it comes to you, you don't even have to like force it, because it's something that you love to do, and I can tell
yeah,
you love to do it. And so that's what I want, eventually, to be able to have something where you don't have to work a day. Like you say, if you're doing something that
yeah,
you love, what is it? You don't have to work a day in your life, you're doing
yeah.
something
Do I
that
have to
you
work a day?
love.
Yep, yep.
So that's amazing, and I'm very proud of you, and love to see that you are staying close to God. First of all, like we're rooted in that
Yeah,
from the beginning. So it's
we
like
definitely from that.
there was
Yeah,
yeah, there was no way God was taking this. That's what it is, and that's for anybody that's out here. He doesn't take his hand off of people just because we
hmm,
stray away or we go far or whatever. He's always going to have you with him, and so we just have to call on him and let him know that he's the main source of
oh
what
yeah,
everything that we need. And that's what I'm kind of learning too. Like everything that I need is because of him. Like everything that he is to me is that's just him. So I wish you could see this. Well, I'm gonna show you after we get off here. Where can people find and purchase your clothing? Where can we go and look and find some more of this amazing clothing that you have out here?
oh yes, definitely appreciate that.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can find me Instagram Micah Patton, MICAHPATTON. Instagram. The website is just micahpatton.bigcartel.com. But yeah, you can everything. I just be honest. I have probably so much stuff because I always get people always tell me like, "Oh wow, you got a lot of stuff," and I'm like, "Am I not supposed to have a lot of stuff available?" So I guess a lot of entrepreneurs that's maybe doing it by themselves, they very have limited stuff, and I guess I just over the abundance, just like, "Hey, I got too many ideas," and I
Look,
think Jazzy Jeff said it best. He said, "You need to die empty. Like all your ideas should be all out of you before you die."
out
And I was
of
like, "That
that
makes the ultimate sense."
Come on, that's what I said. That was Miles Monroe. Like I had just watched this thing because he's
Oh,
all about. That's where I got it from. Purpose. So he was like, "There, the graveyard is filled with the most. That's the most wealthy place because people die with
yep,
all." So I say, I'm not going out of this earth without and tapping into everything
yep.
that God has or that He wants me to put here. So even if it looks crazy, I'm gonna continue doing it. You know what I'm saying? And so this is what I do. I wanted to say one more thing to you, Micah. Like I truly, truly love to see when you minister sometimes online. I do see it, and you've told me sometimes, or I've seen it on Facebook sometimes when you
Mm-hmm.
will tell your testimony and stuff like that. I just want to encourage you to continue doing that because when I read your stuff, it ministers to me as well. And I just wanted to let you know that here in person that even though we
Thank you.
don't talk every day or anything like that, I
Yeah,
see it and I see you doing what you need to do for God, and that warms my heart because you sometimes feel like you're alone, like you don't have anybody
oh
else
yeah,
that is believing like you or you're out here, but there are still people that are there are Christians out here. You know what I'm saying? There are
yeah,
people that are
yeah.
believing and doing the same thing, and you can feel the most crazy sometimes because the world is wild sometimes. But it's good to see other people like me that have that same passion and that same hunger for God and want to put His word out here for everyone to see. So I just wanted to tell you that
Well,
personally.
thank you.
Okay?
Thank you,
No,
thank
no
you, thank you,
problem
thank you.
at
Same with you. I
all.
love your podcast. I've been
Thank
watching it.
you.
Well, I say when I'm not so busy,
Thank
I've been
you.
watching it when I can. But yeah, I
Thank
love it.
you.
I've seen other topics you've done. I was like, look, David doing it. You doing it.
I truly, truly, truly appreciate that. So I want to thank you so much for just joining me for this episode. I hope you all enjoyed today's episode. For more purpose-filled content, make sure you follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Deluxe Day for updates on my podcast, along with funny and nostalgic videos that I put up from time to time to keep you all smiling. Also follow me on Coleman On Purpose pages on TikTok and IG. I have Coleman On Purpose that are specifically dedicated to this podcast, and it'll have clips up like this one right here. Make sure you go and get some merchandise from Micah Patton. Support businesses like this because it is important that we continue supporting things like this because it's kingdom. It is what God wants us to be doing for Him. And so please remember, wherever you are on your journey to purpose, remember each and every day you are breathing is another day to fiercely chase after your God-given purpose because you are unique, you are loved, and you are created for greatness. Until next time, thank you all. Thank you, Micah. See y'all later.
Thank you.